So let's gather around the campfire and hear Andrea's story.
All right. Karen sent us an email pleading to hear the story you told a few years ago. And I don't remember it either, except that I remember it spooked the hell out of me.
It's really kind of creepy, and I had to pull it from the cobwebs because it's one of those things that you kind of put out of your mind.
Yeah.
So bear with me. You ready for this?
Yeah, do your best.
First of all, I have to clarify. This was when I was younger and naiver.
Okay.
Naiver. Right. Spell that.
Here we go.
Let's go, you old wise person now.
Here we go. Girls trip to Las Vegas. Something we did every year. Get to the airport with my 3 girlfriends, check in, blah, 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 get on the flight. You know how it is, girls. You're having a great time. You're not paying attention. Anyway, as I get on the flight, I'm sitting there on the aisle, and there's this guy that gets on the plane, sits down next to us across the aisle from us. Handsome-looking guy, very attractive. You know, we're on our way to Vegas. We're ready for a big time. It's starting out great because here's a nice-looking guy. Long story short, by the end of the flight, we had struck up a conversation, started talking, and one thing led to the next. And he said, I'll, come by my hotel. I'll buy you girls a drink, blah, blah, blah.
Was he young like you guys?
He was older. I would say he was about 10 years older than I was.
And you were what, like the early 20s?
This was late 20s. No, it was early 20s.
Okay.
So, anyway, he was very attractive. So we took him up on his offer, met him at the casino. There he was with a big pile of chips in front of him at the craps table. We were living large.
Right.
He proceeded to buy us drinks, dinner, blah, 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 blah. Said he was a lawyer who lived in New York and had this very exciting kind of a life. Well, anyway, we developed a relationship, and I would see him whenever he would come to town to visit me. This is when I lived out in Arizona. And I was head over heels with this guy. I just thought he was the bomb.
So he chose you out of all the girls to do the relationship.
Yes, I was very lucky.
Okay.
So we had this relationship, and he would sweep me off my feet. I'm not kidding. He'd fly into Phoenix, pick me up, and we'd have these fabulous dates. He'd rent limos, all this great stuff.
So he's loaded.
He was loaded, living large, and I was as happy as could be. Well, I'd meet him in L.A. I'd meet him in, all these cities.
Would he fly you to these places?
Yes, he'd fly me, pick up the tab. It was
awesome.
Lots of fun. So it was good, all good. Well, so on one trip to New York, where he said he lived, he flew me out to New York and picked me up in a limo, went to this shishi hotel, the whole thing, and in this big suite. And he said, you know what, I'm going to go out and get us a couple bottles of champagne. I'll be right back. Make yourself at home. Make yourself comfortable. And you've got to understand, this guy was it for me.
You were head over heels.
But you know how it is, ladies. I just wanted to learn a little bit more about him because something just didn't feel right. So when he went out...
Too good to be true?
Too good to be true.
All right.
When he left the hotel room, I kind of looked in his stuff.
You snooped.
A little bit. Thank God I snooped. In his bag, I found a little black book. And in this little black book...
Was it really black, literally?
Yes. It was the typical little black book. And in it were these horrendous entries. It was full of women's names. Page after page after page of women's names. And by all their names were the descriptions of the women. Very personal descriptions.
Wow.
Like big boobs, no waist, stuff like that?
Oh, and I mean, even more graphic.
Oh, really?
Like to do X, Y, and Z?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
And I'm looking at this book, and I'm looking at the clock, and my hands are shaking, and I can't help but keep reading. And I'm freaking out, thinking, this guy's going to get champagne. He's coming back. He's a mass murderer. There's something weird. I don't know anything about him. Oh, my God, I got to get out of here. And then I turn to the page.
To your entry.
To my name.
Oh, this is like a movie.
And here's what's weird. I was in the book under a previous name, my previously unmarried name. So this was when I was late 20s.
So you were married and divorced.
I was married and divorced. I met this guy after I was divorced. So my name was in there under a previous name.
That he had never heard you say.
Never.
Oh, my God.
No. Actually, I'm confused. It was my maiden name because I had been married and divorced, so I was still using my married name. It was my maiden name from a zillion years ago, and it said where he had met me, what I was. I was a flight attendant at that point, blah, 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 blah. And the description was very, very
he had met you before.
surface. He had met me before. This guy had met me before.
And put your name in the book.
Put my name in the book, and I don't remember him. I didn't. There was like no recollection whatsoever. So you can only imagine what I'm going through in this hotel in New York, looking at this book. He's going to be coming in the door. I'm going to get out of here.
And you're shaking. Oh, wait. So, did he know you were the same person that was in the book from before?
Well, that's later in the story.
Oh, it gets better.
I told you to get comfy.
Oh, yeah. I told me to get comfy.
So I cannot grab my stuff fast enough and get out of that hotel room. I'm like ready to throw up because first of all, this relationship has come crashing down in front of me. Second of all, I'm with a psychopath. Third of all, how did I know him before and was he stalking me?
Right.
Turns out. All right, so I grab up my stuff. Can't get to the airport fast enough. I'm just in the cab. I'm like, I don't care where you go. Just take me to the airport now.
Oh, how horrific.
It was horrific because I didn't have any reservation on a plane. We weren't going to leave till the next day. So I didn't care. I just got to the airport, got on the first plane out of there.
Good for you.
I didn't care where I was going.
How long had you been with this guy? A few months?
Few months.
And you're scared for your life right now.
And just all these things were going through my mind. It was unbelievable. So I get a plane back to Phoenix, but I had to be routed through Dallas because there were no direct flights. So I get on the plane. I'm like, close the jetway, close the jetway. I can't wait to get on, close the door. Because I'm thinking he's going to go back to the hotel room, grab his bags, and get in a cab and come and get on the first plane back. And he's going to be sitting next to me.
Chasing you.
So the jetway door closes. We fly to Dallas. I get to Dallas. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm calling my friends, my family, freaking out. And then I look to check into my next flight, and I don't know why I asked, but I said, I was traveling with someone earlier. Can you just see if they're on this flight? Because I finished. I figured he probably had time to get on the one flight to Dallas.
And try to catch a connector?
Try to catch up to me. And sure enough, they're like, yes, Mr. So-and-so is in the seat next to you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
He changed his flight to ride next to you on the connector.
He did the same thing I did. I am crying. I'm like so
Were you crying?
Freaked out. Crying,
were you calling
everything.
your friends, handshaking, all
I didn't
that?
know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, I can't take this flight. I need to get on another flight. I don't care where I am. And so I switched planes, got on a different flight, got home, locked my door, bolted my door. My friends were there. It was horrible. So he shows up.
He shows up at your house?
Oh, of course.
Ah! He flew to, where, Phoenix?
Phoenix.
He flew to Phoenix from New York.
Remember, he lived in New York, supposedly.
So he chased you to Phoenix.
Chased me back to Phoenix. Was standing outside my apartment, screaming, calling. Let me explain. I'm like, I don't want to get near this guy. But I did.
You went back?
Well, I just wanted to know. I needed to know what the heck was up when I had met him, what his story was, blah, 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 blah. He proceeds to tell me that he met me several years ago in a bar. I was out with my girlfriends. It was a very casual conversation. I gave him my number. We never got together, blah, 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 blah. Turns out that he saw me get on that plane in Vegas and switched his seat so he would sit next to me. Turns out that he didn't live in New York at all. He lived in Phoenix. 2 blocks from me.
Oh, creepy.
So creepy. I was on the air there. This was when I was on TV there, too. So I don't know if he had been stalking me.
Do you think
whatever.
he found out you were going to Vegas somehow? Either listening in on your phone call, because those days you buy a scanner, you can listen in on people's phones and stuff.
I have no idea. But he lived literally blocks away. And for months at this charade, I'd pick him up at the airport. He'd say, oh, Phoenix is so pretty. Driving around, show me. Oh, it was just like one lie after another.
He'd act like he was getting in on a plane from... How about his what, he just like bring an overnight bag so he didn't have to check his luggage?
It was so
Did he admit all this to you?
Yes. Well, I started looking at things. He didn't admit it at first, but then I started doing some detective work, and I looked him up, like the Bar Association in New York.
So he didn't admit that. He d't come clean on all that.
He wasn't. No, he didn't. I did some investigative reporting.
Oh.
He lived blocks away with his wife and 2 kids.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
I'm telling you.
Oh.
Ladies, this was the worst thing. Now you understand when I say that woman who cut off that.
Right,
it wasn't enough.
Oh.
And he was living this whole double life, and I totally had absolutely no idea.
Name's Norm. I'm a pizza delivery guy.
Name's Norm.
It's all over.
It's over.
Awesome story.
It's all over.
Yeah.
Did you think about a restraining order and that stuff? Were you that scared?
No, because I threatened to tell his wife the whole thing, and
Oh,
actually
good.
I did end up telling
That was
her.
You did tell her?
Yes, I did end up telling her.
When you were leaving town? Or?
Us women have got to stick together.
Did you tell her when you were leaving town, or did you tell her when you were still there?
I would tell her when I was still there. I
You
told her
got
the whole
guts.
sordid story because I was clueless, and she needed to know that she was living with a psychopath.
Man, that's scary, though, when
Because
you do
all
that,
these
because
other
aren't you
women in
afraid
her
he's
book-
going to come after you?
His book. I think he knew better at that point.
Because you go on TV and bust his ass.
And I was a woman with a butcher knife.
Man, that's scary.
You told his wife what happened. Did you know what happened because of that?
Eventually, they did get divorced.
All right.
It wasn't much longer after that. But I told her to look in his things, find this book, because I was not the only one that was.
Was that the hardest call you ever made?
Oh, you know what? It was just the whole thing was such a nightmare. And then all these things run through your mind. And, it was just.
So she answers the phone. You're like, hey, I have something. You don't
Yes.
even know me. I have something
I have
horrible
something
to tell you.
you.
Oh.
And at first, she was mad at me. But then when I went through the whole thing and told her the whole thing that I was totally blindsided, then I can only imagine the conversation that happened in that house.
Ladies and
Great
gentlemen, I
story.
present to you storyteller Andrea Cambern.
Story of the year.